Welcome to Barca News. It is February 26, 2026, and a Barcelona presidential candidate has promised 110 million euros for Hansi Flick. Also, we have a major injury blow. I'm going to tell you who it is and how long they're going to be out for. And finally, it's reported that the locker room strongly believe in a comeback against Atletico de Madrid. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Bo. We'll begin this video with the news that the Barcelona presidential candidate Marc Ciria presented today his platform in an event held in Barcelona, during which he promised 110 million euros for signings for Hansi Flick come this summer transfer market if he is elected. Now, if you don't know who Marc Ciria is, because we haven't talked a lot about him. We've mostly been talking about Laporta, Font, Laporta, back and forth. Well, Marc Ciria is pretty much the third highest polling candidate, with Xavi Villajuan, of course, being the fourth. But Marc Ciria is someone who specializes or has a background, I should say, in investment and finance. He was born and raised in Barcelona. He studied law, specializing in banking and finance. He then worked in the banking sector and then eventually opened up his own investment firm. He's a very successful businessman and financier. In other words, he knows a thing or two about business. Well, today, Marc Ciria presented his platform during an event alongside Oriol Molas, who's an economist and who is part of Marc Ciria's campaign. And during this event, Marc Ciria presented an economic plan. Now, Marc Ciria stated that Barcelona, since 2015, have not been making money. They've been losing money instead of making money since 2015. That's 11 years of losses. That's crazy. And all this, of course, culminated in 2021, where the club suffered some major losses and almost we saw the club go bankrupt and even cease to exist. And Marc Ciria has a solution to addressing Barcelona's financial problems, including the fact that we are still to register any profits, including increasing Barcelona's global presence, adapting certain the products that Barcelona sell abroad to the specific market that they're being sold at, allying the club with top brands, including that of Leo Messi. Now, unlike Font, who talked about, maybe bringing Messi back as a player, and maybe Joan Laporta at some point, but of course, that's no longer going to happen because we know Messi doesn't want anything to do with Joan Laporta. Marc Ciria wants to bring Messi back, not as a player, but more as a strategic Soci. In other words, combining the Messi brand with the Barcelona brand to create an economic juggernaut. Because, of course, Barcelona is one of the biggest brands when it comes in football, and so is Messi. And bringing those two brands together will be kind of like bringing Nike and Adidas together, right? Actually, kind of is, because Barcelona is sponsored by Nike and Messi is sponsored by Adidas. But you get the reference. It's got to bring in like Apple and Microsoft together, right? And Marc Ciria believes that by bringing these two brands together, this could generate Barcelona upwards of 300 million euros. Now, Marc Ciria also talked about allying the club with top brands like Microsoft, like Apple, things like that, to where, again, would generate more and more money for the club. Now, Marc Ciria talked about how he would be ready to implement his economic plan right away, that he's already come up with a plan. He's already ran it through the attorneys. Everything's good to go. So as soon as he gets elected, he can put that plan in March. And this is what the Barcelona candidate had to say. We will ask the members to hold an extraordinary meeting so that we can implement the financial restructuring plan. And by April, be governing the club and the statutes. The legal team has reviewed this and the statutes allow it. So not only is Marc Ciria proposing this plan that would increase Barcelona's presence and increase their revenue and generate new avenues of revenue, he's talking about that the plan is ready. It's completely ready. It's gone under review by the legal department, and it would be ready to be implemented on day one. Now, Hansi Flick. Marc Ciria also promised that his plan would generate 110 million euros for Hansi Flick come this summer transfer market. This is exactly what the Barcelona candidate had to say. By implementing the digital solution and the financial restructuring solution, I will have 110 million in fee cash to make available to the technical department in the summer. I will say to Mr. Flick, here's your financial fair play. Let's go for the player who can complete a generation of young players who will give us the next Champions League titles. I gotta say, the more I hear Marc Ciria talk, the more I like him. Now, of course, this, like I said, Joan Laporta is going to win clearly by a huge, huge margin. And even if Laporta doesn't win, the next closest one would be Victor Font. So I don't see Marc Ciria winning this election at all. But I got to say, maybe a future candidate after Laporta's second term, or I guess third term, but second term consecutively. I wouldn't mind it because I feel like Laporta is kind of stuck in this old school model where he just rules by improvising, where it's just like, we take a day out of day and whatever comes, whatever comes. We have Font, who, even though I like his idea of modernizing the club and making it more professional, more like corporate structure, he's been too obsessed with consistently criticizing Joan Laporta that his ideas have kind of been diluted. And I think Font should focus more on his ideas. I get it. Yeah, you have to criticize the guy who's currently president by saying, hey, this is what he's done. It's bad. This is how I'm going to do it. It's better. But he's so focused so much on criticism that we've kind of forgotten what Victor Font's ideas to begin with. And then we have Marc Ciria, who's neither of those two. He's like a savvy businessman who has all these ideas on how to improve Barcelona's finances and financial structure, which I think would benefit the club. But again, I don't think he's going to win. But nonetheless, who knows? Maybe after this election, after Laporta wins, maybe after that, Marc Ciria can have a better shot. Now, it's reported that Luis Enrique could be approached by the candidates since Luis Enrique's contract is coming up at PSG. I think it expires in 2027, if I'm not mistaken. He has yet to renew with the Parisian club, and they're saying that the candidates could be approaching him. We don't know which candidate. It's not going to be Joan Laporta, of course, because Joan Laporta is kind of like committed to Hansi Flick. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Anyways, on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are confident about the return to the Spotify Camp Nou, or not the return, but obtaining the 1C license, which would allow Barcelona to host people in the North Goal. And they are so confident about getting this license pretty soon that they have actually opened registration for those seats. Now, as you know by now, Barcelona are operating under the 1A and 1B licenses, which allows them to host 45,000 people in the lateral stands and in South Goal. The North Goal remains closed. Construction is done. We're just awaiting the 1C permit from the city. Barcelona are expecting it around the Sevilla match, which is March 15th. And Barcelona are so confident that that permit will come in the next few weeks. They have already opened up the sale of those 14,000 seats. Now, those seats will be 100% reserved exclusively for season ticket holders. In other words, to Sochis, who are season ticket holders. And the seats are going to go between 160 to 264 euros, depending on the location and on how many matches are left in the season. I got to say, that's a really good price for a season ticket. Now, of course, we're more than halfway through, but nonetheless, that's what one ticket for one match costs you. To pay that much for the remainder of the season, it's a good deal. Now, this is the official statement by Barcelona that they published today. The season ticket will be valid as soon as the club obtains the license to extend the capacity pertaining to Phase 1C in the Gol Nord section. Once granted, they will become effective as soon as possible. Should there be more applications than the number of seats available, there will be a draw in the presence of a notary public to ensure the utmost transparency and fairness during the process. So if you're a Sochi, if you're a season ticket holder, just note that you can already purchase a season ticket in any of those seats located in the Gol North or Gol North, North Goal. Anyways, on to bad news. Bad news because, ladies and gentlemen, Frenkie de Jong has suffered an injury during a practice, and it looks like he will be out between 5 to 6 weeks. And this was officially confirmed by the club's social accounts today, where they published the following. First-team player Frenkie de Jong suffered an injury to the distal biceps of his right leg during this morning's training session. Tests confirmed that the recovery process will take between 5 and 6 weeks. So a huge, huge blow for the T because, of course, Frenkie de Jong is an incredibly important player for Hansi Flick. And also a huge blow because we were about to recover the Pedri-Frenkie duo because Pedri just came back from injury and boom, now it's Frenkie who's injured. So it looks like we're going to have to wait another month for the Frenkie-Pedri duo. But the silver lining, of course, is that this will give more minutes for Bernal, who has been doing spectacularly well. So who knows? Maybe we'll finally see the Pedri Bernal duo during this season. Now, let's end today's video with the news that reports from people close to the locker room are stating that the locker room feels very confident about a comeback against Atletico Madrid, which, by the way, is right around the corner. As you know, on March 3rd, Barcelona will play against Atletico Madrid in the second leg of the Copa del Rey semifinal. We're currently down by 4 goals, so Barcelona are going to need 5 goals in the second leg in order to make it to qualify to the final. And, of course, we can't concede any. But reports are stating that the players feeling confident that, yes, they can mount this comeback. And, in fact, some of them have even expressed it out loud, including Gerard Martin, who said, "We're convinced we can come back. We'll go out to do it, especially at home with our fans. And there's any team that can do it, it's Barca." Now, not just Gerard Martin said that, but even our captain, our leader, Coutinho, who said, "We trust we can play a great match. We believe we're capable of doing it. If there's one team that can come back, it's us. We know it will be difficult, a very complicated comeback, but I think we're ready for what's coming." And not only do the players believe in the comeback, even our sporting director, Deco, said there are reasons to believe in the comeback, although the result is tough and we have to accept it. The team has already shown it can overcome difficult moments. Now, as I've said before, I truly believe that this team has the quality, the skill, the players, the talent, the system, the coach, the everything they needed for a comeback. The question is going to be, will they? Because this team is capable of it. Whether they come out with enough intensity and hunger to do it, that's a whole other question. Because as we've seen, when this team comes out with full intensity, when they do what they're supposed to do, when they play like they're supposed to play, they're capable of competing against anyone. But the problem is a lot of times they don't come out doing what they're supposed to do or playing with the intensity that they're supposed to be playing at. Instead, they come out half asleep. And if they come out half asleep, it's not going to work. But if they come out full intensity, I think this team is capable of the comeback. Anyways, let me know you guys' thoughts tonight and opinions. Do you think a comeback is possible? Let me know down below in the comment section. We'll be going live in a few more moments, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, guys.